Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Thursday, all of today's guests brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. Sunday, Nickelodeon Day for the G-Men. Giants take on Wenatchee. They'll be wearing special Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles jerseys. Puck drop 4 o'clock. VancouverGiants.com to get single-game tickets, flex packs, and more. Canucks beat the Kings 3-2 in overtime last night down in Los Angeles. Ray Ferraro worked the game for Sportsnet alongside Shorty, and Ray joins us now. Thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. Quick little ride after the game to Anaheim, and we're all set up and going to wander over to the pond tonight.
What did the Canucks show you last night, Ray, in terms of overcoming adversity, which they had a lot of in the third period and overtime?
Well, it actually started before the game when didn't know if Quinn was in, Quinn was out. The official the official stats come out, he's out, but then they get a last-minute meeting in there. There's 90 seconds before they can finalize the thing, and he's in. So I'm sure that was a little bit unsettling because there's somebody that's in the lineup or out of the lineup depending on his decision, right? Turns out it was probably Baines. Then they had some kind of pipe that broke in their locker room, and it was like, I think it was a bit of a mess. And but they got out there, and the game, I mean, I'm sure you guys watched, there was like nothing to happen in the game.
Yeah.
Like there was nowhere to go. And it wasn't that it was, I don't know. It wasn't like it was this high paced, tight checking thing. It was just a slog. Like both teams just checked and nothing happened. And so, the Canucks get that first goal, and it's a beauty by Höglander. And all of a sudden, now you got a lead on a really good team who, by the way, I think they're now 19-3-3 at home.
Yep.
Like they had come into the game like one loss in 16 games at home. The Garland goal was critical. Now they get up 2 because I think it's 9 of 10 guys. They've had the first goal. They just don't stretch it out ever. But the LA is, they did this to Vegas. The other night they got 4 on Vegas in the third period. Like the Vegas is a pretty good team. So you knew there was a push. They knew it was coming. And the one thing they just could not get, guys, was a shift in the middle of that period where they hem the Kings in and you kill the momentum, right? You just buy a little time for everybody to catch their breath, because pretty soon all you do is defend. And, once Kempe got a goal, and then it changes the game. But I love that they stayed with it. They didn't. The penalty kill was unreal yesterday. Now the Kings don't have a great power play, but that's not your problem. But 4-on-3 in overtime, they did an amazing job. Bluger, Suter, Hronek, Forbert, Myers, they hung in there. That's hard to do. And then, Garland, after a little bit of a quiet stretch there, that was a hugely needed goal in overtime.
Well, Ray, I was going to say to you, nobody would have had this in the preseason, but Garland leads all forwards with 36 points. I mean, 2 goals last night. You love his effort, his consistency all year long. What do you think of his play this season? Because nobody saw this coming.
No, well, I mean, he had a great year last year, right? I thought him and Joshua really worked really well, no matter who their centerman was, Bluger early, Suter later. Lindholm at a certain point in the year. It didn't really matter who they put there. Those 2 guys just seemed to fit. And this year he's been all over the lineup out of necessity, really, because he is, for a period of time, he was like the only forward that really had some zip to his game. And he's career high in minutes per game. That's a lot on a little guy. And there are going to be times when you just don't have it. It would be nice if they could tidy up their forward group a little bit, get some guys, to play a little bit more consistently. I loved the way him and Joshua played last night together. Remember that first period sort of mini breakaway?
Yep.
That looked a little bit like last year. I think in the last 4 or 5 games you can say, you know what? Joshua looks like a semblance of what he did last year. And Fortunately, I have no idea what he went through this year, right? Like I don't know it. I couldn't possibly understand it, but how scared you must be, how everybody's telling you around you, your surgical team, that things are fine. But how do you know?
Yeah.
Right? Like the doubt to go from day to day. I think we all forget. We see these guys on TV and they're in their jersey and you think they're all 100%, but they're not. And there's lots of things, lots of life going on. And I think Joshua is a really good example. But lately, the last 4 or 5 games, he looks like, man, this is starting to be what last year was. So that I think that ties into Garland, though, Dolly, to your question. I think it really does. I think it gives them a pair. If you can find pairs that play well together, you can always move somebody around and look for that third guy. By the way, I didn't mind 11 forwards last night. I really didn't. I thought that wasn't so bad. I mean, I'm sure there are times where it's a little chaotic, but I didn't mind it.
Hey, Ray, the trade deadline is 8 days away. It's coming. It's coming fast. I need to know from you what you would do with Brock Besser. You could either trade him, you could keep him as a rental, your own rental, or you could sign him. Like, what's going through your brains on Besser?
It depends what information you have. I mean, you're the guy that talks to the agents all the time. If he wants 8 times 8, then it's not for me.
That's out there. The Canucks want to do 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, but so you can want lots of things. I wish I had better hair, but like you can love the player, but not at the term.
Yeah,
I don't know. Somebody yesterday reported, term and cash or the problems in the deal. Well, what the hell else is there?
Exactly.
Right? Like it's like there's only so much to talk about.
I think that was Rick.
I would assume. I don't think so, but that's good. You're good, Donnie. I do think like there's no public discussion, and whether they've had private discussion or not is a whole other thing. But if both sides have stated their position,
right,
and nobody wants to come off that position, then you're clearly at the signing part's out, right? And I'm not saying that's the case, but if both sides have said, this is our position, this is as far as we can go, then that takes away one of the 3 possibilities. So now you get to, okay, what would it look like if we trade him? Well, right. If you're getting offered a bucket of bolts back, like what's the point of doing that? Right? Like that's not going to happen. So then if you can't get the deal you want, then you get into the third. I think least preferable is to play and let him walk July 1st. But what if you think between now and the end of the year, and then from the end of the year to June 30th, that you could make that ground up?
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, I'll give you an example here. I'm sure you guys have been following a little bit Seth Jones in Chicago.
Yep.
And Seth Jones left for 8 years and $72 million. 4 years in, he can't wait to get out of there. And sometimes, and I'm not blaming Seth. Hell, if somebody offered me $72 million, I'd be signing it if it was in Timbuktu. But now you get to a place where you don't want to be. And that's part of the whole discussion for the players. If, like, for example, if somebody's offering you $50 million to go somewhere else, but you could get $43 million to stay in your preferential place.
Right.
Like to all of us, $7 million is like, oh my God, it's like, it's the world. For them, it's still $43 million.
Yep.
Right? Like these are harder decisions or more complicated decisions. So you're asking me, if it's me, I don't want to sign them to 8 times 8. I don't want to sign anybody to 8 times 8, by the way. Mm-hmm. Like I understand teams have to do it, but oh my gosh, that's a tough pill to swallow. I would keep banging on the term that I'm comfortable with.
Yep.
And hope in the 8 days that you can make some headway. How many times does it look like the deal is dead, and then on Wednesday of next week the deal's alive?
One phone call, Ray.
Yeah. Happens a lot, and it's old cliche-ish, but no, I'm not signing that. I'm not signing that. Okay, I'll sign that. Yeah. Because you start looking around and you go, you know what? It's not the market, I think. And let me say this too. We know the cap's going up. every player in the league thinks they're getting part of that cap. You know what? They're not. They're not. The top players are getting part of that cap. And the middle is still going to get squished, and they're still going to try and get young people in so they can maximize the top end of the cap. You think they're taking $1 million off your star player to pay a third line center $1 million more? Not a chance.
No.
They got to pay the big guys. That's the way it's going to look in July. There's going to be a lot of people, I think, even with the cap increase, that in the early part of July, they're going to go, oh, this boat is floating in different water than I thought.
Yep.
Your hair looks good to me, Ray.
Thanks, Donnie. I don't know
jealous.
if I appreciate that or not, but thanks.
No, I'm jealous.
You know what I mean.
Oh,
you know what I mean.
I know very, very well. Very, very well. All right, Ray. Thanks for this. Well, I had one more question for you, but we'll save it. Well,
what do you got? No, what do you got?
Okay, you're like me. You like minutia, okay?
Sure.
Are you noticing that players are losing their skate blades more this season than ever in the past? And if so, why is that?
Well, it's because of the new, there are a couple of years, those switch-it blades, right?
Yeah.
So first of all, I feel terrible for the trainers. They got to carry around these bag of blades that weigh they're like bowling balls when you put them all together, right? Man, we had a nick in our blade. They stoned it out, and because if you had to go change it, it was a half a period. You had to go change the skate. So now the players are constantly, I'm telling you, when I'm standing there 5-6 times a game, at least, players are like, whatever the trainer's name might be on that team, new steel. And the guy runs down, they have this little tool, they wedge the blade out, click it back in. The guy steps on the ground, it locks the blade in, and then out they go. Yeah. I think the reason you lose it is because that can only hold so tightly.
Yeah.
Right? That click, it's going to pop out. And so I will say I do enjoy when the guy has to hop and
Olympic
get pushed
event
and all that. That is amazing because everybody's looking at him and you're like, that guy's screwed. Yeah. Both teams are looking at him like he's screwed, man. Yeah. He can't get back here.
And he's going on some best of or worst of show in the next 20 minutes.
And nobody ever loses that blade on the bench side.
Yeah,
it seems to be in the far corner all the time.
With the long change. All right, Ray, thanks for this. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
Yeah, have a good week. That'll be the eve of the deadline.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Dolly, you'll be just digging right in.
Getting up early this next week, Ray. Getting up early.
I'll tell you who won't be getting up early. That's me. Yeah. I just listen.
We probably won't be talking about skate blades on Thursday.
No, probably not.
Okay.
Have a great week, guys.
Thanks, Ray.